Hello and welcome back to another Crank Miniatures video, and today I'll be assembling and painting the PHR Launch Assets, making a start on my PHR fleet, and starting with the first ships to get the color scheme that I want to be using for the PHR. And for that I'll be using probably these three paints. We'll see how we go. But for now, let's get cracking with the assembly. Alright, so the PHR Launch Assets, as we can see, they come as a sprue, 3D printed sprue. So this is 3D printed resin. Now mine snapped in transit, and some of the ships are missing. So you can see just there, two of the fighters are missing, and on this part of the sprue, two of the bombers are missing. Though they did include two loose bombers rattling around. I don't know, it's a bit unusual, but basically I'll just make one less stand of fighters and so it goes. So let's get cracking with the assembly. And there we have the assembled miniatures. As you can see, when I was assembling, some of the resin parts were very brittle and shot off in wild directions very fast, so probably a good idea to wear eye protection when working with this particular resin, I guess, but I haven't been doing so. But they're all assembled now, and I will leave those to cure for a couple of hours before I come back and brush prime them. So I'll see you soon. All right, be right back. Okay, and we're back. So those have cured up nicely. Super glue's got to its pretty much maximum strength. So at this stage, it's very cold here. So I'm not going to spray prime these outside. Instead, I'm going to brush prime these instead. I am using Vallejo. It is an airbrush primer. But it does brush on pretty well, and for these 3D printed miniatures I think it's going to grip on just fine. So first things first, I'm going to coat the top to give that a head start on drying, and then afterwards I'll paint the bottoms separately. So let's get to it. Using one of my oldest and most damaged brushes, as you can probably see, this one has suffered a lot. But for something like applying a brush prime, it'll do the job very nicely. So in the first pass, I'm going to try to get all of the ships and the supporting struts, and getting a bit at the top of the base is not an issue, but then I'll do the bases completely in a second pass later on. Alright, so now those are all undercoated nicely. There's maybe a couple of gaps that I can clean up later on, but this will do for now. It's time to get started with the colour scheme itself. So I'm thinking I will start first with a good, nice warm brown, which will give me a lighter colour to work off than the black. And yeah, so I'll just use a little bit of that with a little bit of water and get things started. All right, there we go. And as you can see, we're not quite fully covering in a single coat. So I'll go through and do the rest of these and then another pass, and then I'll be back shortly. Alright, and there we have it, a nice warm brown coat, which will make a good base to get our base color on, really, which is going to, I think, be a dark sand, which I'll then tone a little bit with a very watered down Seraphim sepia. I think will give me a pretty close result to what I'm after. Maybe a little too orangey, but we can try that out a bit, perhaps. We'll see. And there we go, we've got a nice, reasonably clean, reasonably smooth base layer without too much hassle. I mean, it could be cleaner and smoother, but so it goes. So the next step that I'm going to take here is I'm going to take some Seraphim sepia. I'm going to water it down because I really just want to tint the recesses like a panel lining more than anything, and then go from there. Alright, and with that wash dried now, you can see we've got a lot more definition, a lot more shadowing, but I'd like to go in with a bit more of that base coat and just clean things up a little bit, because as I said, I really want the shadowing to be more pin lining rather than anything else, and then we'll do some further highlighting after that. So I'm just going to get the original dark sand color and come back and just tidy things up. The big flat surfaces, and get everything ready for a little bit of edge highlighting later. Not being particularly careful here, just making sure that getting rid of anywhere that wash has stained things a bit too much. There we go. And it does look a little bit rough, but I'm not a display painter. I just want these to look decent on the table. And the main thing is I just want there to be a good amount of contrast on them so that they don't just look like white little blobs. Okay, so next up, let's get the engines detailed out. I'm going to use some plate armor here. It's a bit of a darker, more steel kind of metallic. I could go for a brighter mithril blade, which is more of an aluminium stainless steel kind of look, but I feel like the extra shine of that will just be lost with the white paint job that the rest of them have. So let's put on a couple of metallic details and see what we get. Now with metallics, especially for spot details like this, I usually don't bother thinning them. I find that thinning them doesn't really make that much of a difference. And in this small area, I'm just looking to blob these on. Nice and easy. And it won't stand out a great deal, but I think that gives a little bit of the effect that I'm going for there. Alright, and then the last step I'll take there, now that the metallics have been done, is I think I'm going to grab a bit of pale sand and just give a little bit more detail on some of the edges. Try and get a little bit more contrast overall. I'm not going to go crazy with edge highlighting or anything like that, just try and block things out a little bit, give it a little bit more shape. And again, nothing crazy, as you can see, just a few quick dabs here and there to sketch out the shape of the cockpit and the wings. I could even go for a finer detail brush, but I'm just trying to touch the edges. Oh, I was barely in the frame then. Sorry, I'm new to this YouTube stuff. And there we go. I think that gives a little bit more visual interest for these very tiny spaceships. So onto the bombers next, or a stand of the bombers. I'll do the rest of these off camera, I think. Just trying to show, sketching out a little bit on the bridge, the edges. So if anything, more just to give the impression of a bit more work done in the highlighting stages there. And again, these are absolutely tiny little cruise ships. I know there's painters out there that could draw in the individual pilots and so forth, but like I said before, I'm just trying to get a nice little effect going here. Nothing crazy. So there we have it. A very quick and simple paint job for the PHR Launch Assets. Nothing complicated, mainly just wanted to get them looking roughly the right kind of parchment off-white kind look that I'm hoping to get for the rest of my PHR. Though for those, I will be using very different techniques to this. I think the smaller ships will probably be brush painted, while the larger ones will probably be painted with the sponge. I don't know, we'll see how we go. But thanks for tuning in, and hope to see you again soon for some follow-up videos where I paint the rest of the PHR Battlefleet. All right, bye for now.